Hi, my name is Flip Awesome Aguilera, and welcome to WEYT, the show where I find interesting people just like you and discover what's going on between their ears. Now, let's get to know one another. What's going on, everybody? Flip Awesome Aguilera here, and welcome to another episode of WEYT. Today's mantra is do the difficult while it's still easy. Think about that one, because if you let the difficult pile up, it'll get more difficult. Check out this homie that I got on the other side, Mr. Evan Snow. I'm excited to catch up with this guy. We haven't spoken in a minute, and I know he's always doing amazing things. So how did I meet Evan? I think I met Evan through Action Club, right? Action in Fort Lauderdale. And, I've seen him just blossom into a powerhouse in the 954 or Broward County area of Florida. And yeah, thank goodness we have people like this guy that are, trying to bring culture, trying to bring people together and just do amazing things in his part of the world. So that's enough about me talking about him. But Evan, let the people know who you are, what you're up to, what's going on with your journey.
Appreciate that. My name is Evan Snow. I'm a very proud Broward County native, born and raised in Coral Springs, and still live here in downtown Fort Lauderdale. And a little bit before I met Flip through Action, I was very passionate about exploring my passions and discovering what ultimately became arts and culture as something that I wanted to immerse myself in and gave me a lot of joy in life. Although I'm not a painter and I'm not an artist, going to Wynwood in 2015 at the peak of the Art Walk and Art Basel really opened my eyes to maybe traditional fine art didn't resonate with me, but seeing these murals and street art and this culture, and if anybody was around Wynwood at that time remembers what it was like, I wanted that for my area. I wanted that for my community. Fast forward, developed myself into a arts advocate and a community builder, and ultimately a creative entrepreneur to create platforms to highlight and showcase the arts in Broward County, to keep people in know with great things that were going on that maybe weren't on everybody's radar. And it was in an effort to make this place a better place to live and not just a better place to vacation, because it's already a great place to vacation, but we live here. Arts advocate, community builder, creative entrepreneur, regular guy from Coral Springs, and that's Evan Snow.
What do you think, aside from just the obvious of it brings you joy, drew you to arts and culture and to wanting to bring it to Fort Lauderdale?
It was definitely those early experiences. If you've been to Wynwood Art Walk,
so
if you've
try
been
to explain Wynwood for some people who may never have been there, because we don't know who's going to watch this. So explain what Wynwood is, what it used to be like, what it was, what it is now.
Good point. I appreciate that. Wynwood is the street art capital of the world. It's the largest public outdoor art museum in what was previously an industrial rundown warehouse district of Miami that nobody wanted to really have anything to be a part of, right outside of downtown. And some folks from New York City that rebuilt Soho, Tony Goldman and his family, came in and said, we have all the money in the world, we could do whatever we want to do. And they made ultimately this mecca for street art where every single wall for blocks and miles is covered with street art, public art, murals, not graffiti, from the best artists in the world. And then with that became this very indie artistic culture of, the cute coffee shops, not just cute coffee shops, but like the real good independent coffee shops and bagel shops, and obviously artist studios and so many things that surround an art district. And it really ultimately became the model for transforming an area into a place that people really want to be a part of, which ultimately, unfortunately, leads to gentrification and overdevelopment. But before that, it was a really cool place to hang out. There's all these warehouses that have all this cool stuff, and going to these events early on for me while I was just getting into a whole new interest that I was never a part of. I was just a regular Johnny 9-to-5 recruiter guy that would go to the sports bar and watch the Heat game with my friends. It really just left me with like a zest to go on these culture crusades to explore the arts and culture more and more. And it was just those enriching experiences that led me to wanting to continue exploring and then ultimately bringing it to our area. Because I saw if it could work there, it could work in an area like Fort Lauderdale.
All right. So what has that journey of bringing art to Fort Lauderdale been like? Let's get into the weeds here. What's that been like? What's been the ups, down, the lefts, the right turns? What's that journey been like for you?
So we started initially Choose 954, which is a social movement to cultivate culture and community in Broward County, keep people to know from a social media perspective, visual storytelling. So I would, cover the arts with a camera, Instagram stories, high production video recaps, live streams of events. That wasn't enough, so we started a newsletter bi-weekly, built it up to over 15,000 people that were looking to engage with the arts and culture. So we'd keep them in the know with a weekly culture roundup. That wasn't enough, and I also enjoy storytelling, so I started a podcast to interview regular people in the community to help tell their stories, to connect people a little bit more with the people that are doing really cool stuff in the community. And then ultimately covering the arts and culture, and what was going on was great, but we felt there was a lot of gaps and voids that were missing. Myself and my partner, Mr. Andrew Martineau, who started these ventures, one of them, we never had a signature 4-day art fair. We never had a major thing like an art basel in Fort Lauderdale, Broward County. The thing on Las Olas, we all know what it is. It's a street fair. It's a craft fair. They've been doing it for 30 years. It's kind of gotten old and tired. Nobody's flying in to Fort Lauderdale to go to this craft fair when the guy does the same thing all around the state now. So we wanted to create something super unique to put Fort Lauderdale on the map as an international destination to view and interact with art. We know we have talented artists here who, from covering the arts and culture, from forming relationships with these independent artists in the arts districts all throughout Broward County, we knew that they were super talented and deserving. They just didn't really have the platform to get discovered or recognized or appreciated at the level that you really need to sustain being an artist. And if you don't have art in your community, nobody wants to live in a place where it's gray or dark and there's no life, color, and vibrancy. So basically, we started an art fair. We didn't want to be like anybody else. We wanted to utilize the unique element of Fort Lauderdale, the fact that we have beautiful intercoastal waterway system, homes and beautiful architecture on the intercoastal. And we have this thing called a water taxi that very few places in the world have the ability for us to not do an art fair in a tent, convention center, or hotel, but we decided to do an art fair inside of mansions on the intercoastal, made only accessible via boat. It's a unique way to view and interact with art, and it's an experience that's never really been an experience before. And through these platforms and through some of these initiatives that led to other things as well, this has ultimately helped Fort Lauderdale, to your question, catch up on the art scene. Now we are on the art world map. Now we do have an art and design week. Now we do have artists that are getting collected, that are getting national and international opportunities, but you need to have the support mechanism. You need to have coverage. You need to have people writing about the arts, talking about the arts, caring about the arts, promoting the arts, for people to know about it so that people outside of the arts can get involved and realize what's going on in their community and take civic pride and support the creative economy and the creative class so these people can keep pursuing their passions and creative outlets. So that's some of what we've done to help catch the arts up in Fort Lauderdale. And we feel it's actually made a lot of progress over the last couple of years since I got involved. And now things are actually looking on the up and up, more or less.
All right. You just got to get through this whole pandemic thing. And it sounds like you've already set the foundation for some interesting growth to happen in Fort Lauderdale. And this is just the tip of the things that you're into. I know that you're into very many more things. And as we transition into the next question, I'm sure all those things are going to come out. So now, are you ready for this ultimate question? Evan Snow, what's been engaging your thoughts lately?
They were living in this beautiful new building in downtown Fort Lauderdale, Society Las Olas, and decided to chase a girl. I found myself in a brand new yoga practice, which has ultimately changed my life. I'm flowing daily, if not twice a day sometimes. And it's really helped ground me. It's helped, obviously, yoga and meditation slow down my thoughts. And I do have a lot of stuff going on. We have, 4 companies, 2 nonprofits, a bunch of other volunteer work that I do. Yoga practice has definitely helped ground me, balance me. I'm feeling the best I've ever felt. I'm in the best shape of my life now. It's helped me, especially in moments of like normal anxiety or stress. I'll just take a deep breath, relax, kind of zen it out. Especially it helps under the mask as well. That's been engaging my thoughts. Yoga, twice a day flows pretty much lately.
And are you doing basically vinyasa flow, or are you starting to venture into different styles of yoga to see what your body is asking for?
I'll do, it depends on the morning and the time. I'll do a vinyasa flow generally. And we have a teacher I've known for years that thankfully teaches for free in my building to the residents 2 times a week. So she does vinyasa flows, Chloe, the Gemini rising, God bless her. She's the one that really helped me with this journey. And then like the nighttime flow, I'll generally do a bedtime, relaxing flow, shoulders, neck, hips, just kind of unwinding for the day. And it's been such a blessing.
Yeah, I'm glad you've picked that up, because moving with purpose is one of the most fundamental things we can do as humans.
Amen.
All
Amen.
right.
And honestly, if somebody's not into yoga or not sure, I wasn't into it. And I'm 35 years old, just got into it. Just go on YouTube, just type in yoga flow for neck pain, yoga flow for lower back, whatever it is, and there's something for you, and it's free, and you can try it in
yoga
your
with Cassandra. There's yoga with Adrian. There's yoga with everybody.
Some of my favorites.
Yeah,
some of my favorites.
But the thing is that it's great, right? Because pandemic world, you're stuck inside. Oh, I can't go to the gym anymore. Yeah, but you can throw on, if you get yourself a kettlebell, get yourself something, just put on something from YouTube and go. And I did the same thing. Now, I've been doing yoga for quite some time, but when the pandemic began, my foundation was to go back to yoga. It wasn't to lift heavy weights. It was like, I'm going to do this every single day. I'll lift weights once or twice a week, ride some bike once or twice a week, but this every day. And yeah, if I feel anything feel a little tight, I'm on the mat. Like, let's go. Let's loosen that thing back up. I also know that you are involved in a few other things. What can you tell us about Zero Empty Spaces?
Doing an art fair for 4+ years, where we've exhibited over 500 artists, where we do an art fair inside of houses that are for sale. So we work with realtors. We got involved in the real estate board. The artists would always ask us, hey, where are the studios at, let alone affordable? And ultimately, property developers, property managers, commercial real estate developers, property owners, and all the alike would ask us, hey, can you do art in our space? And oftentimes, oh, but we're not going to pay you for it. We're very big on creating win-win-win scenarios. This was before COVID. We activate, residential real estate. Why don't we look at activating commercial real estate to solve what the artist said was the problem of not having studios, let alone affordable? And then this was before we got into this commercial real estate crisis, where there's already 90 million square feet of vacant commercial retail in the country. We decided to, with my partner having a background in shopping center and retail development as an executive with Westfield and a bunch of other companies, activate vacant commercial retail like storefronts on a month-to-month basis until they get leased, to make affordable artist studios at $2 a square foot with the water and electric included. We subdivide spaces up to like 100, 200 square feet. So artists could literally pay, $200 a month, be in a retail storefront without signing a long-term lease, with us managing it, marketing it, promoting it, utilizing all of our resources within the arts to drive traffic, to support the artists and the property. It was a good idea before COVID. It's been a good idea since. We're just opening our 17th location now in about a year and a half. We've had over 150 artists come through the program so far. It's changed countless people's lives multiple times over. And it's been a beautiful thing to be a part of. And we're in the Tri-County area in South Florida, Palm Beach, Broward, Miami, and we'll be expanding. We've been kind of holding off with COVID, understandably, but we will be expanding it outside South Florida, because we know there's artists other places that need the support, and there's obviously vacant commercial retail everywhere. So that one's been a really good one.
And have you had an occasion yet where maybe they want to rent out the space to somebody who wants that space, and you have to transition everybody out to a new space or something like that?
So that is the success story. That is part of the program. It's fully transparent with everybody, the artist and the property, that the place stays on the market and then it will get rented. Now it takes months, to go through a commercial lease. But first space on Las Olas, they were in there for 3 months. The rent was like $36,000 in a month in the first space. They never would have been able to who can afford $36,000 a month before build out, before all your other expenses? So for an artist to pay a couple $100, they all sold way more than they paid in rent on when they had the Las Olas space. So for an artist to be able to have had that opportunity, even if it's only for 3 or 6 months, generally they appreciate it. And then, when it comes to a close, as it does, we just got a couple spaces leased. We give the artist first right of refusal to go to the next available space. Some choose to, some don't choose to. But as we continue opening more and more space, our goal is to make locations available closer to artist houses, so that they don't have to decide between Palm Beach or Miami. And we're going to continue to grow the program to do that.
Well, it sounds like it's a growing and amazing idea. So keep that up, because I'd like to see that over here in Colorado. Why not?
That's one of the places we're planning on.
They've got some spaces that are empty and can use some artistic life to it. So sounds like a plan to me. And now I know this other project that you're into that I was very interested in, still very interested in. And can you tell the people about what is 1,000 Mermaids?
And I wanted to find an opportunity to throw in there that I genuinely appreciate your support, both you guys' support over the years. You would come to events, you would show up randomly or tell me you were coming. You came to the Nerd Night event. You came to YOLO a few times to support the artists in the event. So I just wanted to make a point sometime in the podcast to say that I appreciate you supporting these initiatives when you did live here throughout the years. And it does mean a lot to me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So throughout all these experiences, as you begin to see, new conversations and things come up. I don't like to manage artists, but some artists came to me with an idea that basically they were just going to do in their backyard, and somebody needed to really take it to a serious level. And they were body casters and sculptors. They would make their art of the human body, and they wanted to put mermaid sculptures on top of rocks and put them in the ocean. And I didn't know what that meant at the time. And long story short, if you haven't seen it, I watched a documentary on Netflix called Chasing Coral, and that was my aha moment. They've been behind a bunch of other movies, Social Dilemma as well. That really woke me up to the situation that was going on, and why putting these rocks out there made a lot of sense, to use art as a problem solver, to let people know what was wrong with the coral reefs and why they're so important, especially to our way of life here in South Florida. So fast forward, we've got scientists involved. We've got the most amazing, resourceful reef builder who's a architectural cast stone expert who can make anything of concrete. That's his art form and his profession. And he's been very philanthropic, a great supporter of the project. We've put out over 72 artificial reef structures in Palm Beach County. Over the last 2 years, we've been working on the project for about 4 years. It takes a while. And fortunately, we recently got funding to create and start our reef with the city of Dania Beach here in Broward County, Florida this summer. So we've been putting out 20 artificial reefs to start a site here. And if you don't know, basically very short about coral reefs, they are the first line of defense, the barrier against the wave energy that comes in along the coast here. If we don't have the reefs to break down the wave energy, we're accelerating healthy reefs, living reefs, active reefs. We're underwater a lot quicker than 50 years, 30 years, 20 years, or whatever they were previously expecting. And reefs provide habitat for thousands of species of fish, provide ecotourism support to local dive shops and our economy, and countless other medical research benefits. I just kind of felt that no one was really advocating for the coral reefs, especially in my area in Broward County. It's big in Palm Beach, it's big in Florida, and in Miami and in the Keys, but nobody was really making it a big deal here in Broward. And I kind of like being the voice for the voiceless. So using art as a problem solver, thankfully now STEAM and science and technology and VR and AR and NFTs and so much exciting stuff. So I encourage you to look it up. It's very visually rich images on our Instagram, on our YouTube. We've been very blessed, great press, great support. And we now have opportunities for people to have plaques and other smaller items at lower price points so that they can get involved in a project from like $300 to $500 versus making their own reef, which traditionally costs like $7,500. But it is a tax-deductible donation to our nonprofit, which I'm the executive director of. So if you want to find out anything more, look up at 1000 Mermaids, at Ocean Rescue Alliance, a new nonprofit we started to help more than just the reefs, because we have a lot of plans to do artificial mangroves, seawalls, and sea urchins, and save a lot of other things. And it's amazing. We're partnered now with all the top institutions, organizations in South Florida, NOAA, Durham, all these people. So it's a blessing. And if nothing else, that'll be definitely part of the legacy piece. So I appreciate you bringing that up.
Yeah. And again, it seems like it's all trending in the right direction, even with the pandemic. Basically, what you're trying to tell us is, the coral reefs, especially in Broward, nobody's paying attention to them. They're not having a good time. They're starting to break down. And, all the things that come with the second law of thermodynamics, which is entropy. The chaos is coming. And then you guys, what you're basically doing is, with the mermaid idea, which is the initial idea, is you're getting people to take body sculptures of themselves, of their upper body, and then their lower body is a mermaid. And then you're taking that body sculpture and taking it out to the coral reef, dropping it into the ocean, where it can then become a part of the coral reef with this person's likeness as a mermaid.
And it's engineered and coated and treated and pH neutral and ocean friendly and all those things, and permitted by the state, the feds, the Army Corps of Engineers, everybody's involved. But yes, that was a good way of explaining it. And now we have the ability to have your legacy live forever under the seafloor and give back and say that's, don't throw plastic in the ocean. Hopefully nobody would, but people would say that's my reef down there. And it's part of the whole awareness campaign.
So for anybody out there that wants to live under the water, like Ariel from The Little Mermaid.
Amen.
For our Little Mermaid generation.
Amen.
This can be a unique opportunity for you. Do you think you can get Disney to get involved in this one day and see if we can get a whole Disney Little Mermaid?
We had a conversation pre-COVID. I think they actually pushed the release back of the next one. So yeah, we did have a conversation, and it is definitely there's synergies, and we are starting to grow the site. We're working on sites in Tulum, in U.S. Virgin Islands, the Keys. So hopefully a reef coming even to the west coast of Florida, to Tampa. So reefs coming your way soon.
All right, and we gotta keep trying to figure out how to use our technology to help us out, because our technology has hindered us in some ways, but something I like to say all the time is yin and yang come with everything. So technology is a good thing and is a bad thing. It can be both, but it depends on which one we feed more.
Amen.
All right. Amen. So you brought up real estate in Fort Lauderdale, right? When you're doing these art things and doing the art shows in this real estate, being that is such a hot topic these days, what is the real estate market like now in Fort Lauderdale?
It's like overhyped, overinflated. They put out, so I'm not really a realtor, and I'm not like in the commercial real estate space like that. But from what I see,
even the residential, both.
Both residential, it's overpriced. I mean, the building I live in, I think the average 1-bedroom rental in Fort Lauderdale is like $19.50 a month, and that's like on par or above Miami in certain areas. It's not there. We don't have the infrastructure. We don't have the restaurants, the culture to support it as Miami does in spades, and as Palm Beach has really caught up to. So they anticipate, the real people that know what's going on, that there will be a little bit of like not like a crash, but they built 20,000 are planning to build 20,000 new condo units in downtown Fort Lauderdale. It's not supposed to have 20,000 condo units in downtown Fort Lauderdale. It wasn't part of the master plan. We've got infrastructure problems. Basically, it's a lot of hype. The buildings are nice. I like the building I live in. It's changed my life in certain regards, getting me into yoga. It's not everything that glitters is gold. And that's all I have to say about that.
All right. So we will also put up a link for Chasing Coral so people can check that out.
Amen. And thank you.
Now let's see. Let's transition into our next questions. So who would you like to speak to if you could, dead or alive? One person.
The first guy that comes to mind, and I mean, just because the art stuff, and he had a big impact on me from watching his documentaries, is Jean-Michel Basquiat,
Mm-hmm.
who's often considered the artist that kind of got us painting or coloring outside the lines into really the real modern contemporary movement with Andy Warhol, Keith Haring, Fab Five Freddy, and all these people in the late 70s, early 80s in Soho when Manhattan was burning down in the shithole. And these guys helped bail out Manhattan from making art and culture cool. I find so much fascination in that. And he was like homeless, and the documentaries are brilliant. And now his artwork sells for $100 million. So yeah, he's amazing, and that would probably be the go-to.
Is there a specific question you would ask him to open up the discussion?
He had a bunch of quotes, and there's one that I've probably gone back to more times than not, and has sparked so much conversation. Like I'll post it, and like people will comment on it, and it's not who you are that holds you back, but who you think you're not. And it kind of goes to like imposter syndrome, and it goes into, I've struggled with that a little bit in certain regards. I know he struggled with it, and he didn't get his fame, and he got fame, but he didn't get the riches, unfortunately, towards the end of his life. And then after he died, I would be interested to hear why that he made that quote, and kind of, man, if he just didn't die, I mean, it would have been a different story, but he had such a profound impact on art culture. If you don't know who Basquiat is, it's the crown, and now it's on the friggin' Brooklyn Nets basketball uniform.
So yeah, he
had
definitely left an impact.
Yeah, huge impact. You probably hear people, Jay-Z, a million rappers and artists talk about, like Basquiat in their lyrics, and just had such a profound impact on culture. And my life, I'll never forget, in the end of that note, when I first discovered the documentary, the first one, Boom for Real, the real one that I like, I watched it 11 times in 10 days.
Oh, wow. So
you
went down the rabbit hole.
I dug it. Yeah, I just dug into it. I couldn't get enough. And the last point of why it was really so profound and how it relates to my story, as they assisted in New York City redeveloping and becoming what it is today from literally 40 years ago, not that long ago, our city, our area is not burning down. We just need a little bit more arts and culture and stuff to support where I'm from, born and raised, where it's never really been that great. In all reality and all transparency, anybody that really knows will tell you. And man, if we just had the things that our neighbors to the south and our neighbors to the north have in terms of support from the business community, from so many other people that should support the arts that do other places but don't here at the same extent, man, we could be so much further ahead instead of, like I said, not everything that glitters is gold. And I'm not going to paint a picture that this is the greatest place to live. It's a great place to live. Weather's great. We're really close to the beach. I can see the water from my apartment, but it still has some work to go. And I've learned so much about that journey of redeveloping cities in my own research and development. And I keep going back to Basquiat in that documentary. I've probably watched it 25 times now.
All right.
So.
And this might be an extension of this last question, but what are like the top 3 resources that have inspired you?
When I was going through the transition from being a regular Johnny 9-to-5 recruiter to initially blogger and just like want to be entrepreneur, I really dug deep and discovered Gary Vee back 5-6 years ago. 6 minutes for the next 60 years of your life. I'll never forget, was definitely the aha moment that I needed at that time to kind of get me to transition outwards. I was big into TED Talks, and then I was big into like entrepreneurship. So kind of like hearing, put your head down, grind, for the next 3 years. And if it doesn't work out, I would have still been like 33 years old. And that's what he was saying in these talks. And it really proved to be beneficial for me. And then I would say, even though it's more recent, definitely the yoga and mindfulness, waking me up and needing that just has been like such a paradigm shift. I needed it so bad at the right moment. It came into my life. Everything happens for a reason. And the third one, and it was 3 things that had an impact on my growth and journey. Was that
the top 3 resources for you?
Top 3 resources. Okay, so Gary Vee, definitely. Yoga, definitely. I mean, I'd have to say my business partner, one of the most resourceful motherfuckers I've ever met in my life. It just Swiss Army knife of creativity, taught me about altruism, doing good without having your hand out and expecting anything in return, not philanthropy, not just giving a check, but doing good. And he's also been a resource for pushing me to be better, to work harder, to never give up, never quit. And I should have quit so many times. I was going to quit so many times. It would have been so easy to quit so many times. And he's just been a resource of like rock hard solitude. And I'm forever grateful for him, Andrew.
Awesome. So now we have our time travel question. Are you ready for this one?
I think so.
If you can go back and speak to your 18-year-old mother, what advice would you give her?
The first thing that comes to mind is, and my parents are great parents. I was a fucked up kid.
I've met your parents. They're pretty cool.
That's right. That's right. Just to be a little bit more lax. They got into, they like helping people. They were big into Landmark, like the Landmark Forum, S-Training, Advanced Course, before Gratitude was in the Secret were a thing. And then they did that for so long that they got into recovery and helping people with like Al-Anon, OA, AA, CODA, and all these other groups. And when they got into that stuff, they got very like rigid. And then that was around the time when I was 14 or 15 and starting to drink and, you know, smoke and party in high school. And that led to obviously a strain on our relationship at that time, which I'm now making up for and making them proud. And we've gotten past all that. But I would probably say don't be so rigid, because I think they made decisions that ultimately impacted my life and worked out in the long run. But I probably would have rather that they made better decisions instead of maybe leaving me to make my own decisions. But they end up being good parents, and everything worked out.
The thing is with that, you know, I'm a parent. And as a parent, what do you think of the concept that you have to let your children make their own decisions and make their own mistakes? Because how are they going to learn if you're doing everything for them?
And they did, and it worked. It worked out, and I probably wouldn't have. Looking back on it, they kind of left me to make my own decisions at the wrong time, when I didn't have all the resources, and I probably would have them be more rigid then. But it all worked out, and everything happens for a reason, and I'm forever grateful for them and working every single day to make them proud, and I think they are now. So.
All right, yeah. So just keep doing what you're doing. Your parents are awesome.
Amen.
So next question is, are there any questions you would like to ask me?
Well, I know a little bit about your previous journey. I'd like to know, and I wasn't into yoga at the time. So I kind of want to maybe just find out what yoga's been like for you, how you integrate it into your practice and into your life, because I know you are very balanced, very zen. That's one thing I've always admired about you. So kind of what is your practice and flow like, and how did it come into your life, and how has it impacted your life?
So first, thank you for that compliment. So my journey into wellness to begin with began after I got divorced from my ex-wife, right? And that's when I got into mountain biking, got into, you know, racing mountain bikes and all that stuff. Now, when I was doing all that, I wasn't thinking of, you know, being the most mobile and stable person. I was just thinking, you know, I came from a lifestyle when I was married before of partying all the time, right? Because I worked for a liquor distributor, I had a poker business on the side, and I DJ'd on the weekends. So in South Beach, in Miami, and all of it. So all of that was my life previous to my transition. So I get into the mountain biking, I start to lose a lot of weight. And losing all that weight, one day I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, you know, I got these legs from this biking, but I'm too skinny. I look like a Tour de France rider with like toothpick arms and chest. And, you know, we live in South Florida, the land of sunshine and beach. You can't be looking too skinny going out to the beach like that. So, of course, I did what lots of people in there, or not lots of people, but lots of males in their late 20s, you know, if they go to the gym, what are they doing? Chest, biceps, triceps, abs. You're not thinking of it as a holistic system. So because I kept making that choice over and over and over again, in my late 20s and not knowing what I was doing, I ended up injuring my shoulders. and I couldn't lift my shoulders past here without excruciating pain that would basically just make my shoulder turn off. It was like, it would just turn off. And basically what I had done, because I was only focusing on those vanity muscles, is I over tightened my chest. So I did it so much that this space here in the chest started closing, and my clavicle didn't have any more space to move. So it would jam into my AC joint, creating the pain.
Wow.
When I went to the doctor about this, they're like, "Oh, we'll give you a cortisone shot," but and it happened to me twice. It happened to my right and left shoulder. When I went back the second time, they gave me the next cortisone shot. They're like, "Next time you come, it's going to be some surgery involved here. We got to see what's going on in there." And that's when I was like, okay, I've never had a problem like this in my life. So something I'm doing must be causing this. So I went to Dr. Google. And the thing with Dr. Google is that Dr. Google's full of information. Good information, bad information, misinformation. And if you don't know what it is you're really looking for yet, it's just a lot of information. But I dug down that rabbit hole, and it took me about a year and a half. And in that year and a half, I came across an article called The Joint by Joint Approach to Training by a coach named Michael Boyle. And basically, the main idea of that was, if you want to have a durable body, you need to train for joint integrity, not for bigger muscles or whatever. Joint integrity. And obviously, I was lacking integrity in my joints. So once I figured that out, I started learning about each joint. And that's when I figured out, oh, I've over tightened this, and then my upper back is not strong enough to pull back. So what I had to do was start to stretch more. And that is what began the awareness of, I can't just lift weights. This is more than just one thing. I need to open myself up. And in that, I created like a warm up, and it's still the warm up that I make most of my clients do, because it's basically a vinyasa flow that takes you through large ranges of motion, that opens your body up. And then, after you're open, you can go throw it down, but at least you gave yourself that adaptation of being open before you tightened yourself back up again. So in that, I just got more and more into yoga, and now I teach like 3 yoga classes a week over here. I still have clients from Miami that are like, "Oh, I like the way you do your yoga," because I do some yin yoga, I'll do some hatha yoga. It depends on the people I'm working with and what it is that their bodies are asking for. But like I mentioned earlier, when the pandemic hit, that was my go-to. That was the foundation. It's like, I need to stay open, and I can throw some other things on top of it. But my foundation needs to be one of mobility, stability, and then strength.
100%. And it's not, I've found like being new into it and diving into it and exploring it so much that it's not like it's a cult. Obviously not a cult. I shouldn't even say it like a cult. But like when you find that people are into it like yourselves that are flowing, you find that they have that energy and that balance, it just like kind of radiates, and those are the people you want to be around. And it makes a lot of sense now to me, now that I know what I know, why you are the way you are, why you have that energy, because you are so grounded and balanced. And hopefully your shoulders are feeling better now.
My shoulders move.
Hey! I had 2. I couldn't get this one up, and then just a couple weeks into it, naturally, just now.
Yeah, because you're opening it back up again, right? You're going through 4 ranges of motion. You're not just staying here. So I have a whole presentation about movement and how your movement also is incorporated with your emotional and mental well-being and all these things. And at the very bottom of my foundational thing, on top of breath, is mobility. And if you're lacking mobility physically, mentally, or emotionally, you're stuck.
True story. True story. And if anybody wants to flow, I'm down. Hit me up. Hit Flip Up. I mean,
so have you done hot yoga yet?
I have not, but Chloe is telling me we're gonna go, and I need a new mat because the mat I have is gonna slip too much.
Slip, yeah. So that I was totally not into hot yoga before, when I was more into just building muscles, and over time I started trying it, and you just feel like, whew. I don't know about Bikram because that's very, very hot, and it does get to the point where if you sweat too much, you're gonna sweat your electrolytes out. And once you sweat your electrolytes out, your muscles are not going to be happy.
Amen.
So
Amen.
there is like you were saying, there is a balance between too much and just the right dosage. Like there's most things in life are about the dosage. If you take too much, it's not gonna do it. It's too much. If you take not enough, you're not gonna get the effects. So it's
And the
about
other
finding
one,
that dosage.
set and setting. And
Set
I've
and
learned
setting.
not every instructor has energy that you're gonna radiate to, or a style that you're gonna gravitate towards. And having the right instructor, or even just listening to the right person on a video, could literally make all the difference and make you more in tune or not in tune. So I agree, and it's been such a game changer for me. I'm forever grateful.
Well, to echo what you're saying, just because somebody is good at yoga doesn't mean they're good at teaching yoga. Right? Just because somebody's good at something doesn't mean they're good at teaching it. And I'm going to plant a seed for you. And although this is not in Fort Lauderdale, if you can get yourself to the Valente Brothers Self-Defense Jiu-Jitsu Studio in North Miami, I think that would help you continue to expand your journey, because those guys teach, they're teachers like we're talking about, and they teach with these very same fundamentals that we're talking about.
Interesting. I've been listening to Joe Rogan podcasts lately more, and he's always talking about different martial arts, and we're just talking. So I might go down that rabbit hole.
So just go there, tell them I sent you, and the second you walk in, you will be like, okay, yes, this is yes.
Okay. Okay. I appreciate you planting that seed.
Yeah. And when I get down there, if you haven't gone, we'll go.
You let me know.
Let the people know where they can find more of what Evan Snow is trying to put together in the world.
You can find me on all social medias, at Evan Snow 13 on Instagrams, LinkedIn, Facebook, all that. And then every one of our platforms, you can find on social media, and I run all the social media. So if you ever have a question, you drop us a note, but choose 954 to cover culture in Broward, Art Fort Lauderdale, annual art fair in January, Fort Lauderdale Art and Design Week, annual art week during the art fair, 0 empty spaces, all spelled out. We have another one, which Flip spoke at, AAF Creative. Fun part about Zoom with the headset and the call coming in. AAF Creative Zen, monthly breakfast lecture series, mini TED Talk held for free every second Friday morning of the month, previously in person, recently been Zoom. Next one is a mutual friend of ours, Enid Nolasco, founder of Raw Storytelling and Raw Made. So that'll be April 9th. Flip's talk is online from May of 2019, I believe. Yeah. I know, because I was not there. I was in Italy for the first time. Okay, we have the replay. And then at Thousand Mermaids, social at Ocean Rescue Alliance. I'd appreciate if you'd follow that one. That's our new NGO that we're working to grow. And we're rolling out artist representation, artist management. It's going to be under Unite Us Artists, which we actually have a whole other company, an agency called Unite Us Group, which powers all of these companies that we have and does all the work. And it's me and my partner as well. So we're going to bring more opportunities for artists with representation, galleries, e-commerce, NFTs, which is a whole new thing that is growing, that we're going to make that available to support artists as well. So just reach out if you have a question. I'm a regular guy. Don't hesitate to drop me a note. You never know what'll happen. You never know what, as we found out from Action Club, what one connection, one person can really do for your life. And we've seen that time and time again. So please don't hesitate to reach out at evansnow13 or evan@choose954.com if you want to email. I'm here.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time and attention. If you liked this episode, for all our listeners out there, please like, share, and rate it. If you feel that this message resonated with you, again, just share it with your friends. You can find this and past episodes of WEYT on YouTube. It's WEYT Show, Facebook, WEYT Show, Instagram, WEYT Show. And if you'd like to schedule a call with me, you can email me at weytshow@gmail.com. And as I just said, time and attention is the greatest gift we can give to each other. So here's to spreading more peace, love, and smiles. Thank you, my buddy.
Good talking to you, bro. I'll see you soon.